Continuing along the road to Avengers Doomsday, we got the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, titled The Incredible Hulk. It is the only film in the MCU released that early on inside of the franchise that does not have a sequel. It is a film, the only film that is distributed by Universal, and it's the only film that Edward Norton portrayed Bruce Banner. It is a weird one. All that to say, I know that I've said in my Iron Man review that I was going to rewatch every single movie inside the MCU, and that is true. I am going to rewatch every movie inside the MCU, except one. I am not going to rewatch The Incredible Hulk, because I saw it less than a year ago, and I don't really need to rewatch the movie. So I've already watched Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America the First Avenger. Reviews will be coming very soon for those movies. But we got The Incredible Hulk today. Before I dive into my review, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what are your opinions on The Incredible Hulk. Is it a good movie inside this franchise, or are you not the biggest fan of it like a lot of people? And with that said, The Incredible Hulk is a perfect background movie. I've seen this movie 4 times in my life. The first time I saw it was with my grandpa, who passed away, rest in peace, and him, my brother, and me, and we kind of were talking, having fun throughout the movie. The second time, I watched it with a bunch of friends. The third time, I watched it by myself, actually focusing on the movie, and the fourth time was in the background. All that to say is, this movie, I think, is the best background movie of all time. It's a movie that you could put on in the background, you could enjoy the action sequences, Hulk's throwing things around, Abomination, they're smashing things. You could enjoy that. But once you actually sit down to watch the movie, like I did that one time, it's very boring. And it's not that good. It is a good background movie. Again, it feels so distinct from the rest of the MCU, but not in a good way. Number one, there's no connection to the rest of the MCU except a post-credit scene with Iron Man showing up to a bar to talk to General Ross. Number 2, like I said, it's distributed by Universal. It has a very distinct vibe. Number 3, Edward Norton plays Bruce Banner. A lot of people think that he should have stayed as Bruce Banner. A lot of people don't like Mark Ruffalo as the character, and I completely disagree. In my opinion, I think Mark Ruffalo is a pretty darn good Bruce Banner. I think that he's funny, he's charming, he's quirky, has all the elements that you need of a Bruce Banner. Meanwhile, Edward Norton, I don't quite buy him as the character. I buy him as the genius scientist aspect of it, and the guy who's trying to hide the Hulk. But when you look at Mark Ruffalo, he's quirky, he adds layers to the character, and Edward Norton never really brought layers to the character. He's fine in the movie, sufficeable for this movie, but the rest of the MCU, I don't think he would have matched with the rest of the actors and actresses inside of this franchise. But he's okay in here. Like I said, it's a good background movie. The action, obviously, is a lot of fun, especially when you have Hulk and Abomination. You can't tell what the hell is going on at all. But gosh darn it, it is so fun to just watch 2 giant monsters just slam into each other. It's pretty entertaining. In fact, even the college sequence, I think, is pretty darn good inside of the movie. Every sequence that the Hulk shows up, I actually think the Hulk looks pretty good inside of this movie. And that's one thing I like, is that the movie stylistically feels so different from the rest of the MCU, but it also has kind of a little bit of a gritty tone with the way it looks, and I kind of like that tone inside of the movie. But this is just the most forgettable MCU movie. The story is fine. There's elements there that work. There's also elements that don't work. There's a scene inside the movie where General Ross and Blonsky are talking to each other, and nobody's mouths are moving, so that's really weird. And just overall, like I said, I can't stress this enough, it's a good background movie. I watched the movie, I have fun on the big sequences, but if you just kind of watched it by yourself, it's very, very boring. The score is really good in this movie. It has that kind of, again, adds to the gritty tone of the movie that I actually kind of appreciate inside of this film. That was something interesting, fresh, new inside this franchise. But overall, this movie is just, it's a basic MCU movie that doesn't have any connection to the rest of the franchise. There are some pretty big negatives. The prime negative I have with this film is Liv Tyler, where I like her as an actress. I really do. She's god-awful in this movie. She is terrible. I'm sorry. Most of her lines are her going, Bruce, 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 don't do that. Bruce, Bruce, where are you going, Bruce? And then there's one scene where she's yelling at a taxi driver.
Are you out of your mind? What is wrong with you?
You don't like a good ride.
Like, holy shit, lady, calm down. I don't need you to be screaming in my face here. And it just doesn't match. There's supposed to be a romance between her and Bruce Banner, and it just doesn't work at all. And so her kind of just disappearing from the rest of the franchise is kind of a good thing. She showed up in Captain America Brave New World. Okay. Like, were they trying to elicit a reaction or anything? I don't know, but I don't like her character. The thing that's most interesting about this movie, again, not to sound like a broken record, but it is so distinct from the rest of the MCU that we haven't had a sequel for it until last year, and it wasn't even a sequel to this specific movie. It's a sequel to a Captain America movie that acts as a sequel to The Incredible Hulk. It's weird, because I feel like they made this movie, they didn't want to scrap it, it didn't fit their plan for the universe, so they just kind of forgot about it, and leading up to the leader, which was a very cool kind of reveal. If you're a fan of the Hulk comics, you're like, oh, he's going to turn into the leader later on. And we don't get that until a Captain America movie, and the villain is dog shit in that movie. So, yeah, there's that. But, like, I don't really have anything to talk about this movie. Like, it's so distinct from the rest of the franchise, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it has anything. It's a fine enough watch. It's a perfect background movie to just turn on to the background. That's what I recommend you do with this movie. Besides that, it doesn't really add anything, and I don't know if I'll ever revisit this movie. I might revisit it in the future, but like, it'll definitely be on as I'm doing something else. Homework, cooking, something like that, because that's the best way to view this movie. Before I give you my final score of The Incredible Hulk, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell. Comment down below, what are your opinions on The Incredible Hulk? Are you a fan of this film? Or do you agree with me and think it's kind of boring if you watch it by yourself, but it's completely sufficeable as a background movie? And with that said, like I just said, probably 100 times in this video, and I can admit that The Incredible Hulk is a good background movie, doesn't work for much else, so distinct from the rest of the franchise, and I'm glad they didn't go down this route, and I kind of wish they didn't do that in Captain America Brave New World. With that said, The Incredible Hulk is going to get a C+ from me. Thank you guys for clicking on this review. With that said, next up is Iron Man 2, and boy do I have thoughts on Iron Man 2. Subscribe.